what are we thinking about virtual sports these days? I would imagine that not being able to get together, virtual sports has taken off and maybe accelerated a bit the development of it. What's the future hold for that? I know there's even colleges that are having virtual sports tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the future holds for that? For everybody, Crane, what do you think?
Well, and virtual takes on a whole bunch of different meanings, and we've all learned a lot about it with COVID. I think we're really at the beginning of sort of the consumer experience and how we all enjoy our games. I think our especially at home experience is going to be far more interactive as we go forward. You're seeing all that stuff happening right now. Sports betting is going to be a part of that interaction. I think we're going to see the ability to wager on games from your home, in a really seamless way, which has just become part of the vernacular today. And I think the experience at home just gets richer and richer. So I think that we were forced into it this year in some ways. I think it's going to become sort of table stakes for us going forward in terms of how we bring our events, which, as you know, we're monetizing over 3 or 4 different platforms, right? We've got the in-person experience when you're at Wrigley Field. You've got your at-home experience, television and radio, and then you've got the digital experience, which is just the latest and greatest. But so I think 5 years from now, we may look back at COVID much like we did talking about technology in the buildings and say it was the catalyst for a lot of change.
Jamie?
Yeah, I think it's interesting, like even in our own household, when we sit down to watch a Blackhawks game, and I'm sure we'll experience this when we start watching the Cubs games, is that, my teenager who's 17, he engages with the game very differently using his, multiple screens. I got a 5-year-old in the room on her iPad trying to figure out what this hockey thing is. And I think we've realized all watching this content together, everybody wants to engage in it in a different way. And I think there are going to be more opportunities going forward to have what I call like this simultaneity of experience. We're all watching the same game, but we might be watching a different broadcast of it that is geared towards the way we want to consume it on any given day. And I think second screens will allow us to do that. We're testing some of that right now with our Blackhawks fans so that the 5-year-old can have a different experience with hockey than the 18-year-old can have. So I think it's just opened up, and I think Kevin made a great point, which is, we've learned in the last 14 months we can do anything, and that when we have to make a change, we can. And I just think the innovation and the transformation that'll happen in sports, whether that's from a digital aspect, in whatever way that takes shape through AR or VR, different types of streaming, or what that looks like in the in-game experience, is going to be drastically different. And I think it's shown that we can make changes. We don't have to enjoy sports in the same way we have for several years. And we just have to figure out what are the things we want to keep the same, what are the things we're willing to change and make different. But if we don't, I feel like we're all going to be competing against Fortnite. So we do all need to band together.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're all in trouble.
Yeah. Pat Foley and I were old high school pals. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Oh, I did not know that.
One time we were told by the chemistry instructor who was screwing, he said, "Mr. Waymer, Mr. Foley, I want you to go in the lab, shut all the doors and windows, and turn on the gas." What a student I was. But what do you think about collegiate virtual sports, Kevin and Sarah?
I defer to Sarah first.
Well, so there's two sides of it, right? There's sort of the virtual experience, which is what Crane and Jamie talked about, which we saw even some innovation over COVID, like virtual fans, which some networks elected to do, and others decided to just go with the cardboard. We saw the giant screen in the NBA bubble that had that interaction. And then we've seen already with Twitch that you can be actually in the middle of a game and betting on moments that are about to happen or things that are about to occur. There's that side of it, which I think, like Jamie said, especially people who have been rooted in their ways, maybe otherwise would be more reticent to change, but because there's been so much change over the last year, we're getting a little bit more flexible in terms of not feeling as apprehensive about when things were used to look a little bit different. So there's that. And then there's actual e-games, which you referenced, which is you can get a college scholarship now for playing a video game. There's an NBA 2K league that has a draft and health benefits. In fact, the health benefits of the NBA 2K league made the league go back and change the benefits of their G League physical basketball players who were getting worse benefits than their video game players. And as soon as that was brought up, they were like, oops, gotta go revisit that. So there is this tension, right, that's going to come out of those two warring factors. I'm not as up to date on the e-game stuff as everybody else is, but it is a massive market. And all of us old heads
yeah.
who are trying to ignore it and pretend it's not coming, like Jamie said, we will get killed by Fortnite, and we will totally get run over if we don't embrace and understand at least what's coming down the pike with esports as well.
You get your ACL blown out, you get carpal tunnel, one of the two.
Right, absolutely. Everyone needs glasses.